Good day and welcome to this edition of Focus On. I'm Moy Peterson. Gauteng Acting MEC of Infrastructure Development, Jacob Mamabolo, delivered the 2022-2023 budget speech where he outlined key areas of focus in social infrastructure investment in view of increased demand for public facilities such as schools, clinics, hospitals, and libraries. Joining me now to discuss some of these highlights is Jacob Mamabolo, Gauteng Acting MEC for Infrastructure Development and Property Management. A very good afternoon, MEC.
Well, good afternoon to you and thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, MEC, you have just delivered the budget vote speech, and I just wanted to find out, MEC, what are your areas of emphasis in this financial year?
Well, firstly, thank you very much. Today, we delivered the budget of the department worth 3.3 billion, which is a budget that is dedicated to the delivery of infrastructure projects in the province of Gauteng, which is the powerhouse of the economy in the country, and of course, which is a leading, best performing department in terms of GDP growth, job creation, making sure that households have got income, but also reducing the rates of inequalities. So infrastructure delivery in this province is very much important for the overall performance of the economy. Our key priorities for this year and the issues that we believe will continue to make a positive impact on the living conditions of the people is that the 3.3 billion project will go to the delivery of infrastructure such as schools, hospitals, and of course other social infrastructure. What is very exciting in this year's budget is that the department is looking at infrastructure that takes into account the issues of climate change. And we have presented our commitments to deliver smart and agile infrastructure that is alive to the realities of changes in climate, but also reducing greenhouse gas emissions and the designs that will make sure that if there are heavy storms, bad weather conditions, our infrastructure should still be able to survive and give the necessary support to our communities. So green and smart infrastructure is one of the most important things moving forward, which the department is championing, taking a lead on, and I think that's going to be quite important to contribute to the country, also meeting its targets with regard to climate change priorities. The second most critical part is that the department seeks to create jobs. And we have seen in the budget speech, we have mentioned investments that are targeting public works programs, particularly the expanded public works program, to create jobs amongst youth, women, and people with disabilities. Those are the most vulnerable sections of our communities. To this extent, the department wants to improve overall coordination with the municipalities, particularly the metros that are sitting with huge budgets, which, if properly coordinated, can actually be able to make a positive impact on job creation. So expanded public works program and other programs that take place, for example, in the maintenance of infrastructure. Those are issues that we're looking at, and we're quite positive that better coordination, better use of limited resources, stakeholder coordination such as municipalities is definitely going to give us a good impact in the area of infrastructure delivery. We know that infrastructure creates jobs during construction and its maintenance, but it also has a long-term or a long-run sustainability in terms of impact on the economy and making sure that we've got sustainable economic growth.
Now, MEC, you have unveiled a massive infrastructure development budget. And I mean, that places really a huge responsibility on your shoulders, you know, and in line with how would this ensure that there is great economic growth from this budget. Now, I also want to find out from you, how will you be planning to successfully deliver infrastructure while at the same time, you know, ensuring accountability for every rand at your disposal?
Well, just the other issue that I just want to mention in the priorities that you are mentioning is there's a multi-billion rand project, which of course seeks to support the government office complex in the CBD of Johannesburg, which we call the Kopanong precinct development, which is creating support for all provincial government departments to be able to deliver services. Now, the significance of this program, the Kopanong precinct, is not just in creating a very good seat for the provincial government, but it is going to impact the inner city. It is going to revitalize and bring back quite exciting economic activity inside the city of Johannesburg. We know that the CBD of the city of Joburg has deteriorated over time with the departure of the mining houses post the good days of the gold rush. And that has left the inner city with a level of deterioration and poor infrastructure, including underground infrastructure for bulk services. So the investment that we are bringing through the PPP transaction to build a new government complex through, renovating and improving the new government complex is going to have a positive impact on the city of Joburg, which without this investment by the provincial government, the city of Joburg ran a risk that it could actually be a ghost town, which will be remembered for the history of mining. So the provincial government, which is voting with its budget to revitalize, to protect the CBD of the city of Joburg, is going to have a huge lasting impact on keeping intact the global face of our country, which is the commercial city of the city of Johannesburg. So this project, I must say, is a huge, it has a huge impact and a multiplier effect for preserving and protecting and sustaining the city of Johannesburg moving forward. So that's one of the issues that we're raising today. Just back to your point about accounting for every rand and cent. I would like to say to you that in order for us to properly account for the 3.3 billion that we have outlined, we have unveiled today, number one, we need to improve the nuts and bolts of delivery. Because remember, it is in the inefficiencies, it is in poor delivery processes, in the poor business model that we follow to deliver infrastructure, that corruption and the leakages of money happens. It is in that space that it is easy for crooks and criminals to plug in and loot the resources of the people meant for service delivery. So we must look at the nuts and bolts of delivery. That is the delivery process. One of the things that is there in the speech is that we are going to bring automation. We know that globally infrastructure compared to retail, financial services, and other sectors, it's far behind on automation. So we are looking at, sustaining the necessary capabilities that will make us bring light, remove the darkness, make sure that there's transparency, there's openness by leveraging technology. So we're looking at introducing an automated infrastructure delivery management system, which is abbreviated as IDMS, through a technology supported by Oracle, and our national treasury has made this policy available. So it is going to make sure that we push back the frontiers of corruption and looting and waste. The second part to account is in the province, we have a very good relationship with the SIU, which is our law enforcement agents dealing with corruption. We have already referred many of the dodgy issues to SIU. Premier of this province has entered into an MOU, into a memorandum of understanding as a principal document of a clear relationship to deal with corruption. So to that extent, even in the department, many officials that were found to have dodgy activities were brought to book. So on the one hand, we are going to make sure that the delivery process is efficient and effective, and the game changer in there is smart technology. On the second part, it's of course law enforcement activities. So we're having a multi-pronged approach to dealing with corruption and leakages, and of course diverting resources. The other issue is our service providers. We are having a difficulty that the service providers that we bring on board to help us, they also end up being part of the corrupt networks. We also want to caution and warn them that with the approach of automating our delivery process, bringing openness and transparency, and making sure that we open the dark corners and the dark boxes that are making corruption thrive, that they will also be caught, they will be held criminally liable for their involvement in criminal activity. So to that extent, we're looking forward to a very exciting delivery process in which proactively we can deal with corruption, but also reactively, where it has happened, bring in law enforcement quick and fast.
Now, MEC, let's go back to your infrastructure build program, and I mean the budget speech comes at a critical time where we see an increase demand in job creation and job opportunities in our communities. So tell us about the efforts of your department in ensuring, how will this budget then be allocated to ensure that these challenges are met?
One of the exciting things that we're going to bring to the people of our province and to investors is that the department has, over the years, worked on a pipeline of projects. We know that the president of the country, President Cyril Ramaphosa, has convened a summit in which a national government has put forward its infrastructure investment book to investors. Now, I would like to say to you and to the rest of the business community, anywhere they are in the world and here in the country, is that as the powerhouse of the economy, we are also following in the footsteps of national government. The Premier, and through our department, is going to present a very comprehensive, fully worked out, and we're talking detail, specific information, not general promises, but the details of which infrastructure projects are ready for moving to the next level. And therefore, that will say to you, people with investors that may want to support these initiatives obviously will work with local companies to bid for these infrastructure projects. It's quite a lot of them. And we're not talking about just social infrastructure. We're going to include in that infrastructure book, in the pipeline, you will see transport infrastructure, you will see also the direction that Gautrain is taking. You will see all our triple P projects that are run by an entity of the provincial treasury. You are going to see infrastructure such as roads that support the core of economic activity. You'll also see, as I said, social infrastructure. We are going to bring digital infrastructure as well through the Department of eGov, which is the department that deals with information technological systems in the department, and which is a department of its own kind. So from basic stroke core infrastructure, social infrastructure, digital infrastructure, this department and the budget that we have presented is saying we are ready as a province to put a point of reference, something tangible, concrete, with data, with information, which will be available also on digital platforms so that investors anywhere in the world will know where the economic hub of this country is going. Now, we're also looking at, our hospitals have got a big challenge of occupational health and safety. Our departments, most of our hospitals have actually reached their, have been there for a very long time. So the program to bring them to the current time, to adjust them to the current level, is going to make sure that every investor will want to look at what the economic hub is presenting. And I'm excited that this department has been putting together and packaging the infrastructure book, which will definitely inspire investors to know where are we going, including the multi-billion government precinct in the CBD will be part of that. So the human settlements, mega human settlements as integrated forms of settlement with residential, commercial sites, light industrial sites, office park, government precincts, where those are going to come from. So the department, I must say, has done an excellent job, has done a sterling job in repositioning infrastructure through the conference that the Premier is going to lead. And I can tell you the level of detail. It's quite appetizing and interesting for any investor. But also remember that the backbone of growing the businesses, creating jobs, is in the small businesses. So the micro, medium, small enterprises in infrastructure, in the built environment, which are coming up, including those of women, of the youth, of people with disability, all that is going to, again, create a new layer, a new generation of businesses that are going to, again, create jobs. So for big companies, for medium, small, micro enterprises, cooperatives, it should be possible to excite them with this powerful investment book that of infrastructure that the department has invested money to put it together. And we are ready to unveil it very soon.
All right, that brings us to the end of our conversation. Thank you to my guest, Jacob Mamabolo, Acting MEC of Gauteng Department of Infrastructure, Development and Property Management. And to all our viewers, it is goodbye for now.